1 month later, the Black Tiger and his subordinates began a full-scale purge. With Yuziu's authorization, they threw everything they had into eliminating the last remnants of the gods. The commander of the Dark Legion was none other than the Black Tiger. After consuming the Dark Element fruit, he had undergone a complete transformation, becoming the very embodiment of deep darkness. Over the course of a month of relentless battle, his strength had surged dramatically, now reaching the peak of rank 4. At this point, no matter who he faced on this planet, he felt no fear whatsoever. Elsewhere, Jean Bandai, the commander of the Light Legion, was leading a group of mutant beasts to sweep away the remaining resistance forces. Under her overwhelming power, all resistance was crushed in an instant. The gap in strength between the two sides had become insurmountable. Despite her petite and adorable appearance, Jean Bandai was a force to be reckoned with. Her power was enough to make the skies tremble whenever she spread her wings. In another part of the world, a group of demonic beasts resembling beetles was silently lying in ambush. Their sharp eyes fixed straight ahead, on the horizon, a thick dust storm was rolling. Within the swirling haze, a dense flock of black crows emerged, their blood-red eyes glowing coldly through the smoke, glaring intently at the beetles, yet the beetles' leader showed no sign of retreat. Its eyes gleamed as it let out a thunderous roar. "They've come! Prepare for battle!" At that moment, boom, a massive dragon skull came crashing to the ground, causing the earth to quake and debris to rise. This was the Bone Dragon, who had just been defeated by the Thunder Dragon. Though slightly smaller in size, the Thunder Dragon's astonishing power allowed it to crush the Bone Dragon with ease, showcasing its terrifying strength. Switching to the scene of Nine Tails, she was quietly swaying her fiery red tails like flames from hell. Each movement scattered blazing sparks as if she were setting the heavens and earth ablaze. Her entire body emitted an overwhelming aura, clearly signaling she was entering a crucial breakthrough phase. The Queen of the Deep Sea watched the scene intently, her eyes filled with awe and reverence. Her voice trembled as she exclaimed, "After that battle, Nine Tails has broken through. She's reached the peak of rank 5. Beside her, another girl stood stunned, whispering almost to herself, "The Master's subordinates on Blue Star, they're simply too powerful." Yuziu's sharp gaze turned toward the dragon-shaped peak, where a radiant pillar of light pierced the clouds. This was where Nine Tails was in full seclusion. He couldn't help but praise her. To think her cultivation speed is this fast. His eyes then shifted to Eight-Headed Serpent, the Golden Ant, and the White Tiger. In his heart, he sighed. The Eight-Headed Serpent had also been growing rapidly, and as for the Golden Ant and White Tiger, there was no need to say more. After devouring countless beings and spreading terror, they too had now grown to the peak of rank 4. At this moment, in the vast sky above, a scorching air current formed, blanketing the world like a fiery curtain. The Serpent Man looked up in horror as the flames intensified. At the center of this inferno stood a hazy figure, graceful like a woman. Surrounded by giant swirling flames, exuding spiritual energy that shook the heavens and earth, that figure was none other than Shaoling, who, like Nine Tails, was undergoing a major breakthrough. Yuziu was stunned at the sight. The force surging around Shaoling left him speechless. Is she breaking through? Just as he finished speaking, Shaoling's eyes flared with brilliant light. Suddenly, a terrifying pillar of fire erupted from her body, scorching the very space around her, as if the sky itself were about to collapse. But at the climax of her outburst, she suddenly coughed up blood, bright red spurts gushing out. The overwhelming power that had been surging around her quickly faded, and the flames vanished in an instant as though they had never been there. She looked down at her body, her eyes wide with disbelief, her voice choking with sorrow. "I still can't reach the peak of rank 5? From afar, Yuziu observed the entire process, suspicion rising in his heart. He had originally believed Shaoling had succeeded. Without hesitation, he brought his incarnation forward, appearing before her and asking with concern. Seeing her master appear, Shaoling lowered her head, her voice filled with sorrow as she softly murmured, Master. Understanding that she was blaming herself, Yuziu gently shook his head, his gaze warm. "Your heart is still too impatient. A breakthrough is not something to be rushed. Sometimes, taking one step slower is the way to go further. Suddenly, boom! A blinding golden pillar of light erupted from another part of the world, shaking the heavens and the earth. Yuziu turned his head, his eyes deep and focused on the source of the explosion. There, Emperor Crocodile had entered his most powerful form. His entire body was enveloped in blazing magma and ferocious flames, his presence violent and suffocating. Roar! A deafening roar echoed across the sky, his massive head raised high to the heavens, his colossal wings spread wide, and his terrifying aura burst forth in every direction. The serpent folk watching widened their eyes in shock and blurted out, What's happening to him? We've never seen this state before. And indeed, this form was one that Emperor Crocodile had only used during his battle against the gods. Now, he had lost all control and fallen into a frenzy. From his mouth, a golden energy orb began to form, its power rapidly increasing to a terrifying degree. The wild boar, serpent folk, and fire serpent, who had all been spectating, suddenly realized in horror that the energy orb was aimed directly at them. He's going to destroy this place. Run! But before they could react, a monstrous wave of spiritual energy shot out from Emperor Crocodile's mouth, faster than lightning, tearing through space and speeding straight toward them. Faced with such a swift and devastating attack, they had no time to dodge, only able to watch helplessly as the cataclysmic strike descended upon them. Everything in its path was incinerated, reduced to ash. At that critical moment, massive and sturdy tree roots burst forth, rising like a living wall in front of them. Yuziu had acted just in time. His tree roots blocked the full brunt of the terrifying assault, not allowing a single strand of energy to pass through. Calmly, Yuziu controlled his incarnation to step forward. With a wave of his hand, the forest of roots responded, trembling as they withdrew back into the earth. Seeing their master intervene and neutralize the attack, the serpent folk finally let out a sigh of relief, joy flickering in their eyes. We're saved. Then Yuziu's deep, magnetic voice rang out, filled with power that calmed the heart. Calm yourself, Emperor Crocodile. Upon hearing the familiar voice, Emperor Crocodile let out a painful howl. It hurts. Master, it hurts so much. There are two forces inside me. They're tearing each other apart. Hearing this, Yuziu's eyes lit up with understanding. His deep gaze seemed to pierce through all things. Within Emperor Crocodile's body, he saw it clearly. Two opposing forces were violently clashing, one a blinding gold, the other a blood-red inferno. Yuziu instantly realized the problem. If this continued, Emperor Crocodile would die. These two powerful forces were devouring each other from within. Just as he finished that thought, the roots of the divine tree began to stir fiercely, as if preparing to act. Before making a move, the divine tree even gave a gentle reminder. This will hurt a bit. Try to endure it. As the words faded, a tree root as thick as a house pillar shot forth like a massive fist, slamming directly into Emperor Crocodile's chest. The impact was so immense that his enormous body was thrown backwards. The blow churned his insides, and he coughed up blood, bright red and blinding.